All right, Fuzz Club. We're talking about Messa and their album Close today. This one came out last year. Lots to talk about. Lots to go all in on this one. A lot going on this album. So why don't we lead it off with Blake? We'll do some quick introductions and we'll get started.
And Blake Carrera, Aiwass.
I'm Ryan from Hiders Are Queen and Lick of My Spoon Productions.
Bucky, Doom Charts, Bandcamp.
Paul with the Cosmic Peddler.
I'm Pat with Monster Riff and the Doom Charts.
I'm Eddy with Opium Church and the Aiwass.
I'm Kris from the band Aawks, and this is Randy from the band Aawks.
That was one of the most efficient introductions that I think we've ever done.
We're getting this down, man.
that was flawless.
Fucking around.
We're getting this down. No messing around.
All right.
Talk music.
This band is from Italy. The album is called Close. The band is called Messa, I believe. I'm saying that right, hopefully.
Yes.
This was a good one. I know this is on some year-end lists last year when we were talking about that. So let's get into why. Blake, Eddy, I know you guys are big fans. What makes this album so special to you guys before we talk about all the complexities of it?
There you go. Complexity and diversity of the album. Very, very diverse. God, it crosses so many fucking genres, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I like it because it's almost a anti-Doom record.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you were going to categorize Messa in one of these kind of subgenre categorizations, I think they would generally get lumped in with Doom most of the time. This album, though, it was almost like they said, yeah, we'll make you a Doom record, definitely, but we're not going to do it the way that you want us to, or that you think we're going to.
From what I read, this was a more doomy record than some of their previous ones. Is that accurate?
It depends.
Their Belfry was probably the heaviest, more doomy.
Yeah,
one.
Belfry is very doomy.
Yeah, but their last album, Feast for Water, was very, I'd say, much like this one in a way. It was very atmospheric and a lot of clean moments. It's not like your heavy, grating doom that some may think. It's pretty angelic and kind of witchy and
A lot of jazz.
Jazz.
Yeah.
This one's jazz.
This one has
a lot of jazz.
Fuck ton of jazz, which I think is so fucking cool.
Like doom jazz, psychedelic doom jazz.
It's hard for me to figure out who, like, their influences of this guitar player is. I mean, it's got to be extremely vast.
Yeah.
I hear Robbie Krieger from The Doors a lot.
Man,
Okay.
There's a lot of like
all kinds
traditional
of
Eastern music too, right?
Yeah, that's kind of why I was thinking Robbie Krieger, because he was a jazz guitarist who was really into Eastern influences. So
I pull up this list. It was on their Bandcamp of some of the instruments that were used on this album, and it's interesting. It says all songs were written and arranged by Messa. Sarah on the vocals, lyrics, percussion, pretty standard. Marco, bass, 8-string bass, acoustic guitar, vocals, synth, the dulcimer. Alberto's on guitar, slide guitar, 12-string guitar, the oud, the mandolin, vocals, the Moog bass, Rhodes piano, synth, percussion. Rocco's on drums, percussion, the screams. They also had Giorgio on the Duke, I don't know what that is, saxophone, and Matteo on the free guitar. So
Yeah, I heard a lot of saxophone.
yeah.
I think that
free guitar.
Orpheles, that song Orpheles, they had like that. I'm not sure what the instrument is, but that's the kind of like a horn sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one was pretty trippy. It's probably the most unique song on the album.
Yeah.
Number 3.
What do you guys
Yeah,
think
they
of?
all different.
What do you guys think of the Scarlet Doom moniker that they describe themselves with?
Scarlet Doom.
Scarlet Doom.
Scarlet Doom.
To me, that I would know right away they have a female vocalist. So it's probably cool. You know.
That sounds kind of fitting
Yeah.
from just a description standpoint.
I'd be curious to know what their rationale behind it is, but
I mean, Blake might be the most critical because they put the word doom in there. So Blake would have some thoughts on that. I mean, I hear a lot of doom in this record, but I'm not familiar with their earlier stuff. So
No, I mean,
I
if someone was asking me what is Messa, I would say that they're an Italian doom band with some really fucking eclectic influences. But they're definitely doom. You know, it's just like Wino, you know, doing his solo acoustic stuff. It's still definitely doom. This is still definitely doom.
You know what? You know what I kind of thought of was like Windhand and how Dorothea Cottrell did her solo stuff. Had kind of a lot. It was a little more folky, or even country in areas, but it had this similar vibes.
I'm
I hear
glad
a lot of
that because
southern
I almost
rock.
didn't say folky but I felt like it was a lot of folky stuff in there.
Yeah,
Well,
I had a lot of
it's-
southern rock influences for sure. Like guitar-wise, at certain songs were just like
Yeah.
what is it? Rubido, however you say that song.
Mhm.
That's like a nod to Skinnerd. I feel like the last part of that song is like so Skinnerd and southern rock influenced. It was crazy.
Yeah, that solo at the end is sick.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I was like reading an interview, and some of their influences were like Judas Priest and Uriah Heep, Black Sabbath. So that's what they kind of grew up with.
I mean, I can hear the Uriah Heep. I don't hear Priest.
No, no. They're trying to go metal a bit, though.
There's Kris. What's up, Kris?
What's up?
Yeah.
If you're gonna be late, you might as well have a cool hat.
Exactly. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I got my time zone screwed up and yada yada.
Yeah, were you an hour early and now you're 13 minutes late?
were you an hour early?
Did anyone else getting a bunch of like echo or something going on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to fix that one.
Yeah, somebody
I usually
has
let
their
a lot
speakers
go,
on.
but-
This is why we do sound checks.
Hello, 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 hello.
Always Chris in his effect.
Yeah. All right. I don't know where we were. We're just gonna pretend like that didn't happen. I'm sure it'll be very obvious when the
It'll be a
podcast.
nice segue.
The segue is what's next?
So I know that a lot of times you ask like, what was your favorite song? And I want to hijack that question because I think that's an impossible question with this album.
I agree. I was gonna say the same thing. I
was trying to do a little bit of research and see if this was a concept album or something like that. I couldn't find anything that specifically said it. Pat tends to find the answers to these things. So I don't know if he knows.
I got nothing for you today.
Okay.
I don't think it is.
Shit. You have failed me once again.
Rock on.
Well, I think we have an answer to that. The 537 mark on Dark Horse. That song.
Yeah.
Well, I found that interview from Veil of Sound website, and the singer, she was saying that it isn't a concept album, even though it sounds like one. It's not.
Thanks for the save, Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie coming in the clutch, unlike Pat.
Well, I'm curious what the writing process of these guys are because there's 4 billion instruments on the record, as Ryan alluded to earlier, and I imagine like what I'd like to know what they take into the studio as far as like the idea wise, and if the rest just comes out, because they're obviously very open to recording anything, and that's the first thing I liked about this record is I listened to it first time 2 days ago when I was like, oh shit, I got a Fuzz Club. I gotta do my homework. And the first thing I noticed was it was an hour and something long, which you don't see a lot anymore. And I immediately was like, okay, I'm probably gonna like this. Because there's someone who doesn't like feel regulated to the standard of, oh, I gotta get this much because it's a vinyl or whatever. And I was already into that. Then you hear
40
the
minutes
record,
or less.
I know. And like that's the hard cut. But they obviously didn't care about that. And I was like, all right, I already had that idea that this is going to be about the music clearly they could give a shit about rules or genres or anything, and yet somehow the album flows beautifully from song to song, even though it jumps across genres. It's beautifully put together, which is why I'm surprised it's not a concept record.
So Ryan,
really
out of I brought this up because specifically, so I have it on vinyl.
Is it a double?
It's a double. It's right? Very, very cool. Has a really cool booklet and everything. But the song that has the vinyl pull sound on it is the end of side C.
Oh, sweet.
So they clearly thought about some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's very well thought out record for sure. But I would love to know, like, Ryan, I'm telling you, you gotta get these guys on your show as well. I want to know the writing process of this, because this is very unique, and what comes to the table and then what's created in the studio would be interesting to know for sure.
Yeah. Just to that point, I saw them mention in an interview somewhere that it was written and recorded in just like a 2-month period of 2021, and I was like, holy shit, how is that possible? Like,
wow.
You'd think that you'd been there for a year just like figuring all this stuff out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's some probably some educated musicians going on here for sure.
Yeah.
I think I spend 2 months on one riff sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Italy's got a lot of fucking great artists, man.
To your point about your favorite song and stuff, like at first I was thinking like we've talked about a few albums where we said that they were albums, not a collection of songs, and you have to listen to the whole album and you have to like appreciate it for like the whole, but this album to me like did have some songs on it. I mean, there were some like very different songs on it. You don't necessarily have to sit down and listen to this whole album. Some of the songs are long enough and interesting enough to where you don't necessarily have to sit and just listen to the whole thing all the way through. I thought that was surprising because I kind of expected it to be, just by the nature of all the instruments and all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't. There were some definite songs on here.
Yeah, I mean,
Agreed.
Pilgrim was a single.
That's my favorite.
It's definitely a single. It's a fucking killer song. If I had to choose one song that I couldn't live without off this album, it's 0 = 2. But I just think that when you're listening to it, it becomes a comprehensive listening experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's definitely an album to be listened to from beginning to end, for sure.
It makes it interesting for sure. I mean, they go on to, I don't remember what the song was before that Leffa Truck song that's like 45-second like grindcore
Totally
screaming
brutal
track. Yeah. And like right before that is like this long 10-minute thing. And it's like, it's almost funny kind of some of the combinations that they put together. And I don't fully understand it, but I guess that's why we're here.
And that's funny that Leffa track or whatever, that 44-second little interlude.
Yeah.
After that long track, I was listening. I was like kind of paying attention today, and that happened. And then the last song started playing, and I really didn't notice like an interruption or anything. It still flowed through.
Yeah. When I first heard this album, I thought it was one song.
I was like, am I to the last song yet? Because I knew I was on that long song, and then I was like waiting to hear the last song, but it skipped the song before. I was like, oh shit, that's only 44 seconds. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, so, but it's kind of great. Like that transition between those with that one in there, like is kind of great. I mean, they could have just added it to the end of a song probably, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, that closing track's like the perfect song to close the album too. It kind of has that closing vibe to it.
And to me, like I was, like I mentioned earlier, when I noticed how long the record was, it doesn't feel long at all. Like, it doesn't feel like like it would be back at the beginning again, and I wouldn't even know. And it was just definitely something you can listen to and repeat, which is obviously a huge compliment. But the way it flows together, not even knowing what's first, second, it just kind of goes. And like I didn't know, like to Bucky's point, like I didn't realize it was a 45-second song until I actually went and looked. I thought it was just I thought it was a section of a song.
Yeah.
So I like the way it was constructed for sure.
Yeah.
I think when I was looking, like you bringing up the concept album part, like was this a concept? I was thinking the same thing, and I kind of, whether they intended it to be or not, I feel like just based on the album cover, kind of the lyrical content, it's like such a spiritual album. Like it almost is conceptual, like by default, to just flow through. It's like there's characters on the cover, I felt like. And then like the song Pilgrim, you read the lyrics and you look at the cover and you're kind of like, is that part of the song? Is this what it's about? And it kind of feels like a concept album without maybe it intending to be that way. But
yeah, I wanted to ask kind of like what people thought this album meant, I guess. And we've established that it's not a concept album necessarily, but I don't know, maybe some of the songs or the album as a whole, what is the point of putting like this screaming 45-second track in there between these longer songs and stuff? Like what were they trying to say with this album? You know, does anyone have any idea about the lyrics or the content of it or anything like that? Because I don't.
I think it's like kind of like expressing that they can create something that flows so well with all those different influences and like closes everything closes in a way.
Yeah, I'd like to think that they really just don't care, and I mean they care to write good music, but don't care about anything else. Like, I'm hopeful that the whole concept of this record, for not being a concept record, is we're gonna play whatever sounds good, and we don't care about anything else. And like that's like all the great bands that I respect. You know, that's kind of the mold they come from. That they don't give a shit about rules. Just write what sounds good, regardless of genre or anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope that's the case.
There, Bucky, I think you hit it on the head. Like, this is a very spiritual album, and lyrically, this is like a very. I love the lyrics on this record because they're very opaque and abstract and very, very doomy, but in a really smart, intelligent way as well.
They fit the music.
Yeah, really, really well.
Yeah, they're very poetic, and like a song. I like that in a song, like to actually have meaning without being like just blatant and to the point. Like, I don't know. We talked about lyrics on the last go around, and it was the opposite. But this is definitely more kind of symbolic and spiritual, and the way the music sounds, it's like you could listen to this out on a middle of the desert, like ayahuasca journey type thing. It's kind of a vibe.
Who else thought it was spiritual?
Yeah, I mean,
It was totally
like 0 equals 2
Yeah,
is 0 equals 2 is the name of this place where all revolves and it's filled with grace. And it's like, it's very, very simple, but it's I guess the best word for it would be poignant.
They're in the spirit world.
Yeah. I was reading that their rehearsal room is in a deconsecrated church.
Oh man.
Nice.
That's
figure.
just a fucking show off move on their part.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck this band. I'm out. That's too
like
cool.
Yeah, I would also like to rehearse in a graveyard, but
yeah.
That fucking makes this album make more sense though.
Yeah.
To me.
It does.
Yeah.
So how does some of that compare to their older material? We kind of touched on that a little bit, but the lyrics or the conceptual part of it, I mean, what does this feel? Do their older albums feel as like impactful as this one has?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's just a steady progression. They've been this good for the whole time, and they're just this album some may say it's probably their, I don't know, they've came to the maturity, like it's gotten better, but their last album to me I was blown away just as much as this one, if not more. When I first heard it.
For me, it's between Belfry and this album. I think Belfry is my favorite. Like, I would rather listen to certain songs off of Belfry than certain songs off of Close. But this one is a more fully realized version of Messa, in my opinion. It really shows like their growth, their maturity, their insight into where you can go with music.
It's kind of like what Monolord did, right? The early stuff versus the late stuff. Oh,
I'm taking some very deep breaths. It's okay.
I prefer the new stuff. You prefer the old. So
I prefer it all, but you have a very wrong opinion.
I had to do it.
I respect you for it.
Anything that they could have done better on this album, especially, I mean, we're talking about some of their older stuff. Is there any misses on this or anything you'd like to see from them in the future?
I want to see them live. I don't know what they could fix on the record.
Yeah.
Because the record's pretty good, obviously, but I want to see 44 billion instruments on stage and see what happens. But I don't know. I think I'm not familiar with the other stuff, and I'm happy. It's another one of those albums I'm really glad that it was put on the Fuzz Club for me to listen to, because I did completely miss it. And I'm definitely a fan now, and I'm going to listen to some of the earlier stuff. So I can't really speak for what needs to be changed, but I know
I'll admit that I haven't heard any of their older material at all whatsoever. So
we're same here.
It's all good.
Cool.
I would say that what I like about it is that it's so accessible for even the casual fan, that like a lot of this type of music, like these types of albums, are kind of catered toward the fans that are really kind of like us, that are more ingrained in the scene, and like we could appreciate what they're doing, and like the average person on the street would be like, what's this? It's too complex, but it's still like, I feel like if you had it playing in the background, like the person, your wife or whoever, they wouldn't be complaining. Like it's pleasant to listen to regardless.
I would say to me, like, this album became more accessible the more I listened to it. Like the first time I heard it, I was like, boy, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into this too much. It's a lot of weird stuff going on, a lot of different instruments. The more I listened to it, which was a lot the last couple of weeks when we decided to do it, I started like appreciating how accessible it really was. I mean, there are some like real songs in there, and the vocalist Sarah is amazing, and the guitars are great. Like, it started to become more and more accessible the more I listened to it. It wasn't as weird and out there as I anticipated originally, I guess.
Well, they're popular, man. They've broken into that barrier to like that semi-mainstream underground category.
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned at the beginning, some end of the year lists, like these guys, I'm pretty sure made it on some pretty mainstream like publication lists. Or the best.
Yeah, they're not just for the neckbeard beer gut army.
Yeah.
The thing I noticed the most, having listened to it once all the way through, was the unpredictability of it, and I really kind of like noticed how akin it was to like post rock and prog rock, and that in that you didn't know what was coming next, and it was a complete left turn, and it really broke the structure of all of the doom stuff, that I usually listen to. So I found that interesting, and the playing was, like you guys said, out of this world. The playing was ridiculously good.
Phenomenal.
But yeah, I noticed like no other doom or stoner bands are doing this kind of break the mold post rock, prog rock thing like Messa does, that I know of.
I think there's a few doing it, but not very many. I mean,
I think there's people doing it, but I was surprised, like when Bucky mentioned how popular they were. I was surprised when I was going back and looking to see how popular they were. That honestly surprised me, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I was like Ryan too, that it took me a little while to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
This is an album to be digested for sure, and I think that when I first put the record on, I kept getting interrupted. It'd be like I have a 20-minute commute in the morning, and that's like one song for these guys. So and then I'd get back in my car, and it'd be something completely different. So I wasn't fully understanding what was going on until I go, all right, I got to talk about this record. And I sat down last night and just sat in the room and listened to it. Did nothing but listen to it with no distractions. And that's when I noticed the musician work, and I noticed how well it flowed, and I realized how good it was. So
yeah.
But there's not a lot of. I don't feel like a lot of people do that. Sit down, and that's why I was surprised to see how popular they actually were.
Well, that's a good point, and I think that's a pattern that you could say is true for every album. Is that when you really sit down and have complete no distraction, put the headphones on or do whatever you got to do and listen, it's going to be a whole different experience, like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do in our busy lives. Like, I don't have time. Like we got kids, we got shit to do. It's like in the car on the commute, put the earbuds in on the dog walk the dogs. Like, it's like you're listening. It's broken up all the time. But
Yeah, albums like this are not easy when you have, a commute, kids, you got to make dinner, you got to do whatever. It's like, or even go to the gym. This is not necessarily gym music to me. Like, you really, it really is better sitting down and listening to it and just it. And that's it.
Parts of it are gym music. I was at the gym and I heard what was
Left
that?
a truck.
Exactly, the 45 seconds. I was like, yeah.
You got one set.
like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm going home now.
Yeah, I'm out.
I noticed too, like the songs would have these long periods of kind of a quiet or mellow part, or a sparse part, and then they would out of the blue, this amazing like hooky, doomy riff would happen.
Yeah.
And I want more of that, But working out, it wasn't a great workout record because we actually tried working out to it last night, and it's not the right sound.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if anyone. So I don't necessarily have this opinion, but I can understand taking this away from this album. Do any of you think that there's a little bit of one noteness to the album?
No.
Because like that, I personally love that they're injecting so many like folk instruments and jazz chords and scales and things like that. But I could see some people getting kind of turned off by it. So
there was a lot of flavor, sure. And it's definitely not the thing that I'm into right now. So I wasn't like vibing on it, but I respected the shit out of it. But I want more stank face music right now in my life. Not like heady progressive. I want more gut music, But I 1,000% respect it.
Yeah.
And I think I'm with you on that too. This is more of like I like the record. Obviously, I've been talking very highly about it, but it's more of a respect thing, I think, for me right now than it is like how much I'm going to actually go out and listen to this record even some more. But to me, it's more of a respect thing that they've broken rules. The first solo is a freaking jazz solo, and then they've got like doomy stuff, and it's just I respect what they're doing. Yeah, I totally love
respect that they actually made the saxophone sound pretty fucking cool on 0 equals 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't stand saxophone 99% of the time.
Yeah, but they did it somehow.
We're talking a lot about the lyrics and the wording and the creation. I read a quick interview there, and she had stated how being the main person writing the lyrics, everything comes from a very personal place. It's her journey, whatever places she is in life, in love, loss, happiness, whatever. So you could see where these songs are having those turns and words and ups and downs and emotions and delivery, which is super impressive. But it is a very heavily emotional journey you go on listening to this. And just not the place for it. I'm going to put that.
With that said, she is going to hate this lyric game that I have planned for the next few minutes.
I was like, is he really going to do a lyric game with this?
She is not going to like this.
Good segue right there. All right.
When you look at the name of the songs, it actually makes sense. It makes total sense to what she just said.
Yeah.
Now those song titles make much more sense.
I did want to talk about the artwork, but I feel like now we should maybe take a look at the lyrics real quick.
Better do that first. We're primed and ready now.
All right. First one. Trails to dust, blank you swallow, resounding in my deep sleep.
B.
The truth you swallow, my load you swallow, bile you swallow, or blood you swallow.
I hope B.
Where's my load? Or I know there's a lot of jizz talk earlier in the. It's A.
Is A.
Oh,
actually bile.
Oh, it's bile. Oh, trails of bile.
So it shows how good of fans we are. We don't even know the lyrics.
Wow.
A bunch of assholes.
Well, I'll always hear my load from now on. So
Don't bother claiming all is right for leading, seeding, breeding. Woke up in hell to blank.
Definitely take a P. That's me.
Woke up in hell to play this game. Woke up in hell to kill the night. Woke up in hell to get to heaven.
Take a P.
C.
D.
I'm pretty sure it's C, but I hope it's A.
E.
D.
2.
Wow.
Play this
Wow.
game. Yep.
Okay, we suck at this already. We suck.
We're terrible.
We suck at everything.
We're supposed to be the experts. We're all fired.
But you made some good choices. That's hard to.
I know.
Get lit with disorder. Parts of me blank. Time does not
Get
greet.
hard.
Parts of me leak. Parts of me get hard. Parts of me twitch. Or parts of me droop.
Parts of me definitely droop.
Droop.
I think that's your age talking more.
It's
than
gotta be
Messa.
Probably 100%.
It's got to be leak, right? It's gotta be leak.
I'm going
D.
leak.
C.
That sounds like
Oh,
leak
leak.
works.
Yeah, leak.
I don't know. I like Twitch.
Yeah.
I like
It kinda-
Twitch.
That's a lot of sadness.
It would be hard to sing some of those words. So leak would flow.
Yeah.
Bell rings.
Doesn't
while the
have to
green
rhyme. I
man-
found that out.
While the green man digs blank, seasons change. Digs her underwater breath, her underwear drawer, her underbite, her underworld throne.
I believe that breath
First.
only has one E,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Breathe.
That's probably the right answer.
Yeah.
Ching.
I'm
Is-
going with A.
Was that supposed to be breath or breathe?
That's breathe.
I don't remember now. I'm guessing all of it.
D.
Let's see what it was. Underworld throne.
Yeah.
Your underwear drawer.
Yeah.
That's what I would dig.
Embracing forces, shed skin outside, morbid, nice blank.
Right.
Nice rack
Nice.
for sure.
Torment,
Nice.
nice
Rack.
rack,
Nice.
forces, nice skin.
A.
This is bigger.
Torment.
I
It's
think I remember the lyrics. I think it's A.
Yep.
I remember that song.
It is in fact torment.
Mhm.
I remember hearing that she said she shed skin outside. I thought that was a cool line for whatever reason. All right, cool.
So thanks for those very deep and personal lyrics.
Yeah.
I'm emotional.
Yeah, that was good.
I can share the album cover.
I actually just read what the album cover is in reference to.
Okay.
Okay.
Unless I'm stealing your thunder, Pod Boss.
Go for it.
So if you watch the Pilgrim music video, which is really cool, I was watching it right before we started. They do what's apparently this. I don't want to remember the country because it is slipping my mind entirely. But some generally Middle East Mediterranean area, like native dance that involves flipping around hair a lot, that kind of looks a little bit like, 80s headbanging, like swinging your hair around and stuff.
It's like a mating call.
I feel like everybody in this picture is listening to the track, left track.
Yeah.
Yep, that'd be the one.
So I thought that was kind of cool that they went with something really eclectic and really stuck with the theme.
Yeah,
That's rad.
So the photo was taken by E.M. Schutz, I think, in Algeria, somewhere between 1930 and 1940.
Right on.
But I thought that it was a really cool photo because there's like a whole story kind of unfolding that you don't necessarily know what it is, like whether it's like the motion of one person or it's multiple people moving around.
That's what I thought. I thought it was one person when I first.
Yeah,
and
I don't know if it is or not, but it could certainly be interpreted that way.
They've got different necklaces.
Yeah,
yeah. So
definitely adds to the spiritualism.
It does create like this very spiritual element to it. It kind of looks like they're head banging. There's a lot to like read into it without it. It doesn't say much, it doesn't really give a lot away, and you can kind of create your own story around it, which it's pretty cool, and it kind of goes with the quote unquote concept of the album. I think.
I just noticed that up in the upper left was their band name.
Their logo. Yeah,
I didn't even notice that till like just tonight while we're doing the episode.
I love that logo. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, that's their logo.
And then I also wondering, is it close or close? Like close the door or close to you? Like
I was wondering the same thing.
Is it breathe or is it breath? We don't
Forget.
know.
In the very first song,
those two were spelled
you should
differently.
know
Right?
this.
Those two were spelled differently. So that's wrong. I read it as close.
Oh, true. Yeah. Now I'm like stupid. Close.
Yeah, close.
Well, no, close the door.
Close the door. Yeah,
it's not like you're wearing.
What is going on right now?
I didn't. I read it as close. I kept saying it was close.
Well, I could see close the door. I guess I hadn't thought of that, but not like clothes.
Not clothes.
Go figure.
Clothes.
Go figure. More
funny.
mystery behind this record.
In the very first song for Suspended, if you look at the lyrics, they actually use both terms a lot, close and close. So
that doesn't help.
That doesn't help at all. No, zero.
Third line of the album.
What does that have to do with the female headbanger?
What I love is that we have a podcast completely dedicated to this album and everything about it, and we don't even know what the album's called.
We have zero clue about anything about this record at all.
I think it's closed, like close the door, because even song 2, Dark Horse, opening line, closed in a vortex. It's got all of this reference to closing shit down.
In this song, their chorus over and over is too close to them, too close to them, too close to them.
Oh shit! So it's both.
It could be either.
Maybe it is both. Maybe that's why they called it that. Maybe that's
very
the whole point.
What was the purpose of the dance here? I'm trying to understand that. Like, is it a certain name to this dance? Like, was there a reason for this type of dance? Like, I'm trying to figure out why that ties into this.
Well, that Pilgrim song, like, I think that's what Blake was saying. That was in the video to Pilgrim. So,
but don't know what type of dance. Like, I know, like, Native Indians usually did certain types of dances
like
for
the
certain
powwow
reasons. There was a reason for it. I was just curious if that tied into what close means.
It's called. Okay, I'm gonna try and pronounce this correctly so no one cancel me. Knock. Knock is a ritual dance performed by women along the Algerian-Tunisian border. Features the swaying of the dancer's head and thrashing of the hair. When we discovered knock, we immediately thought about the similarities that this dance has with headbanging. The video is centered on for Pilgrim is centered on the similarities these two distant worlds have in common. The connection that creates between them is unexpected, but very spontaneous.
Nice.
That was just to speak to Bucky's earlier point about how like this band has really broke big beyond like the underground. That's in Revolver.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They've got 24,000, almost 24,000 monthly Spotify listeners, which is a pretty good number.
That's a good
for
number.
The average Doom charts band. But on that note, too, I was going to mention that they were the #1 Doom charts album in March of last year. So this album's been out almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Hey, are they on Stickman Records?
I don't believe
Svart.
so. Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
Svart.
Oh, Savart. Yeah. All right.
Bless you.
I knew it was one of them.
Because
Stickman Savart. Yeah, I knew it was over there somewhere. I thought it was Stickman, but it's Savart. Yeah.
A little bit different.
Well, that's some interesting little tidbits about the artwork there. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, Paul, I think you nailed it when you said it looks like a mating call, because that's a mating call for me for sure.
Yes.
Women headbanging, heck yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, if they stick around for the 5:37 mark, they might get impregnated.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Dark Horse.
Yeah.
I would have to say Dark Horse is probably my favorite song. It's the one that like stands out the most. Just the riff all the way through, and then that main riff, I noticed because it was brought up about that when that hits at 5:37, it's the same riff but slowed down like in half. And I was like, fuck, if I got the record and put it on the turntable and just slowed the whole record down to like 22 RPMs, could that whole song be that riff? But I haven't bought the record yet, but I kind of want to do it just to play around with it.
They come out swinging, that's for sure. The first one is Suspended, and then Dark Horse.
Mm-hmm.
They come out pretty hard here with the first few tracks.
Then Rubetto, that was a killer riff in that one.
That's cool.
Yeah, the solo on that one is super cool too. And I was listening to it this evening before the show, and I was actually sitting there taking notes, and I was like, oh cool, we're going into the solo, and I kept taking notes, and I zoned out for a minute, and I zoned back in. I was like, oh shit, the solo's still going. That's like a 3-minute solo at the end.
Yeah, there's some incredible guitar solos on this record, on all different kinds. For whatever kind you like, they pretty much got it on this record.
True.
Yep.
I sent it to my guitar player today, and he was like, holy shit, how have I not heard these guys?
Yeah, it's definitely a guitar player's album, despite having so many fucking other instruments.
Yeah. The free guitar. It's got the free guitar. Right?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of free guitar, whatever that is.
As a guitar player, it made me feel horrible.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, I really do suck shit.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I'm still on the pentatonic, and that's whatever fucking scale it is.
I play with one finger, so it's all right. You know. Thank you, drop tuning.
I noted down on 0 = 2 at the 5:23 mark. There's just a wicked guitar breakdown. That's kind of it. You have to go listen to it, but it's worth noting. Kind of like that spot on the Dark Horse out song. It was worth me taking a note of, like, oh shit, that's cool. Rewound it a few times and listened to it. It's one of those faint little, guitar interludes that stand out.
What song was that?
0 = 2.
I write down all these notes when I listen to these records, and some of these notes.
I write down 0 notes when I listen to these records.
I have. Am I hearing jazz elements? Question mark.
Oh, he's playing it.
This high technology we're using now.
There is a way to play video and audio through this, and for some reason I can't figure it out. So
that's because you're old.
Yeah. I've tried a couple times.
I
can't get it to work. I need a producer. I need a producer that wants to work for free.
Yeah, we all do. We all need those.
Yeah.
Ain't a manager
Yeah,
as
that.
well.
Welcome to being a fucking musician, Ryan.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, I want a free roadie, free manager. I want free everything.
Yeah,
That's all
I want someone to set up all my shit. That sounds fucking great.
Yeah.
Anything else about this one?
It's probably my favorite
I
album
think so.
in a couple of years, man. Like, I love it.
Your favorite
Super.
album so far?
Super relaxing album.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm just attracted to like the traditional Eastern sounds and scales and everything, and then mixed with the doom. It's like, holy shit, this is
Yeah.
what I need.
Plus, you have an oud.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
When I heard that, I was like, holy shit, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have so much material to learn now.
I put time away last night, like I said, to listen to this record, but I'm really looking forward to listening to the record when I'm just for no reason and just putting it on, because I feel like this is going to be a definite, somebody said earlier, background. I think it's definitely that, like a good background record while you're doing things. But I'd find myself like when that riff comes on going, holy shit, hold on, pause, and jamming out to it and then continuing the conversation or whatever it is I'm doing.
Mhm.
But I'm looking forward to playing. I think I'm going to probably pick this up on vinyl too, just to put it, because I could put it on and walk away.
They just put up some some new versions on their Bandcamp page because all the originals are sold out.
Yeah.
They got.
I
black
scored
and
mine at
gold.
Waterloo randomly and was just like, all right, cool. Found it.
Yeah,
Buying this immediately.
Are they a tour heavy band? Does anybody know that?
European wise. They've come to America before, but it's been a while.
It says that the vinyl on Bandcamp's a pre-order. They'll be able to ship only in March when their Europe tour has ended. So they're on tour right now, I think.
Got it.
Or they're
Cool.
gonna go.
What?
Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in Germany right now. They're going to France, London, UK.
Do they tour with like 14 musicians?
I know. I wonder with all those instruments, it makes me curious during that recording too. Is it them playing all those instruments, or did they have people?
That's all.
Apparently.
It's them and then two
Oh,
other
yeah.
musicians that were not technically in the band,
Yeah.
but mostly just those four people, as far as I could tell.
I bet they don't have all that stuff going on tour. Like they have some, but there's probably a lot of pre-recorded like bits that
Samples.
they play
Yeah.
to. I don't know.
Oh, the
That's
dreaded
cool.
click.
Although I was in
Yuck.
Florida last week and randomly ended up at a Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band concert. And I counted on stage at one point they had 15 people on stage.
That's the boss.
The boss, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I left. I didn't stay till the end. I left and went down the street and caught Lucero.
Also
Well,
a great band.
Yeah. One of my
I
favorites.
will say it's possible to do that kind of stuff, because I went and saw. I flew out to the desert to watch Rubber Snake Charmers and Gibby Haynes played from Butthole Surfers, and it was like his solo project. And he had School of Rock, like kids, like literally. He's way ahead of his time right now, by the way, because Gibby Haynes had School of Rock kids. There were like lineup change. There was 10 to 12 people on stage at all times, and they had lineup changes every single song. And the beautiful thing about it was that I looked at is when the show was over, he said goodnight and walked off, and all the kids did all the work.
Oh, that's awesome. Hell yeah.
brilliant.
That's awesome.
Poor man.
Yeah.
Good for him.
That's kind of scary, like, because the Butthole Surfers, my history with those guys, when I was like in
It's like the
middle
drug
school
band.
or high school, was right around like Electric Larryland or Independent.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was the Independent Worm Saloon, but man, that album, me and my buddies, I could remember still to this day sleeping outside on the trampoline, playing that album, and like I can't remember what song it was, but it was like satanic, like these goats screaming out, like it was so trippy. And now he's taking school kids around.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. He's like 65 now, so I guess he'll mellow it out a little bit. But
makes it a little better, right?
not really, but we'll say yes for now.
That's cool though.
All right. Let's wrap this thing up, yeah?
Before we get on too many tangents.
We'll go around. You can tell everybody what you're up to. Blake, you want to lead us off again?
Well, hopefully announcing some stuff in the next week or so. Besides that, can't say too much more. But really enjoyed talking about this album.
Cool. I'll try to make it quick. For Hiders of Queen, we have a repress coming out of our Secrets of the Black Moon because it sold out long ago. That's coming out. We have a split coming out with Blue Heron. It should be out we'll start debuting songs in March. And then, of course, we're going to be announcing our European tour here soon. On the Look at My Spoon side, I'm starting announcing bands for Ripple Fest. I've already announced King Buffalo and Wofat. And then by the time this comes out, I'll announced bands like Fatso Jetson, El Perro, War Cloud, Sasquatch.
Fatso Jetson.
Yeah, that, by the way, that split is awesome. It's going to be good. Acid King. It's good. I mean, needless to say, the lineup's going to be very, very, very good. And I like how I announced one band a day just to kind of like let people guess who's going to be announced next.
Yeah.
Now you guys
had
know.
me at an Acid King.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot, just the Doom charts stuff. First Friday every month, we'll have the new charts for the month out. January just came out a couple weeks ago, and tomorrow I think we should see a podcast that I've been joining in on for the monthly Doom charts countdown with Billy Goat on doomedandstone.com. That should be releasing the December charts countdown tomorrow. And we filmed the January one last night, so we're always about a month behind, but that's what I've been up to. So going to some shows, got the Love Gang show album release party tomorrow. Hope I can make it, but
That'd be a good one. You said that to me. That's really good stuff.
Too many here in Denver. It's like I can go to a show every night, so got to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Cool. I got a show on Friday with the new Duel lineup. For those who may not know, Alex with War Cloud is on bass, I believe, and the drummer from Crimson Devils is on drums. So I'm excited to go see this new lineup this Friday. I'm still working on my store. I got the King Bastard album coming out soon with a tour through Texas that we're promoting. And hopefully 2 more killer records that should be going in the works real soon. Record shows. I'm doing a lot of record shows. So if you're in Texas, come out to see me. Dallas, Houston, all over this year. I'll be set up there. So come out and see me.
Cool.
Same old over at Nonsriff. Get your music reviews and now satire.
Ooh, satire. I like it.
That sounds great, man.
I love that.
Lord should be getting back to work on the album pretty soon here. We're on a little bit of break there for a little bit. And the Endless got the sights on studio this summer. It's looking like to get the debut album recorded. I'm still working on stuff on my own, and trying to learn the oud. And tomorrow I'll have the Saz here from Jeff Matz tomorrow.
Nice.
Gonna play that next.
That's awesome.
We just dropped our newest single just like 2 weeks ago that features Jeff Matz and Esmond Mullums. It's getting really good feedback, which is surprising. I don't even know if I like the song yet, so it's really weird. But yeah, we have another single that Esmond is mixing right now for us. I don't know when we're going to drop that. We're going to give this one a little bit of time to play in the water first. and we're starting to work on we're writing our EP right now, which is exciting. That's about it.
Cool.
That's awesome.
We have our second leg of the Interprovincial Wormhole Tour with Sons of Arrakis coming up in March. Get ready for that. Always writing new stuff. Hoping next year. And we have something else coming out at some point. And I got to do some guitar tracks on a friend's project that will be out at some point as well. Her project called Nova.
Say that again.
Nova. Keep your ears peeled. She's part of Tarantula Tapes, and she plays Nova.
Right on.
Nova Doll.
Dipping her toes into the fuzz, doom, desert rock kind of.
Nice. Very cool.
There's a bit of a seven. So, yeah, cool stuff.
Alrighty. Well, everybody go check out Messa, Close or Close, depending on how you interpret that.
Just your brother breed Messa.
Check out all their albums.
Yes, and I'm gonna do that after this. Yeah, for sure. I haven't heard any of that.
Well, yeah. As am I, and I'm gonna look for some live footage too. I got to see this.
Yeah. All right, we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace, guys.
Take care, everybody.